So today I'm going to be jumping in on this little trend that's kind of going around, and I'm going to be ranking some of the top 21 most popular designer fragrances. We're going to be ranking them from D tier all the way up to S tier. It's kind of funny how these things come and go in waves. So this trend was going on outside of the fragrance community to begin with. It's kind of going around for just a whole bunch of other random stuff, and it's kind of worked its way here to us. We're usually kind of one of the last niches to get in on these trendy trends, but nonetheless, we'll give it a shot. So you can see here on the screen what we're working with. Yeah, some heavy hitters. Nothing that you never heard of before, that's for sure. But I'm going to go ahead and rank all of these up. Basically, it's going to be based off of just the impact that they've made in the community, and also just kind of what I think of them and how I like them. I'm not really going to go in any order, and I also didn't rank these ahead of time. So I didn't look at this and then sit down and come up with it. I'm going to be doing this on the fly. I think it'll be more fun that way, because if I were to do this ahead of time, I would be moving these around back and forth for a long time. I wouldn't be able to stop fiddling with it. That's what I do with all of my top 10 videos. So this will be kind of a way for me to just set it and forget it. You're going to see live with me just kind of how I decide to rank these up. So let's get into it. Looks like we got, oh God, everyone's favorite, Creed Aventus. Let's just knock this one out. So Aventus obviously has made a revolutionary impact on the fragrance community. Love it or hate it, it has completely came in and just jumbled everything up. And now we have a bunch of clones, a bunch of talk, Facebook groups dedicated to this fragrance and all the different batches. I mean, this stuff is absurd. And again, for me, it's just one of my favorites. So obviously, it's going to go in S tier. Come on, what do you expect? What are you thinking up next? How about we go with Abercrombie & Fitch First Instinct. So this is a really solid fragrance from Abercrombie & Fitch. It's a cheapie, right? And not only that, but it's a cheapie that is kind of unique. It's not niche quality. It's not blow your mind good, but for the price, it's really solid for someone who wants a playful, youthful, fun summertime scent. And for me, I really enjoy it, believe it or not. When you factor everything in, all things considered, I'm going to put it in B tier, okay? It's not A tier because for me to put stuff in A tier, it's going to have a bit more going for it. But I would say, considering everything else we have here to choose from, B tier is pretty solid for this one. Next up, Invictus Aqua 2018. So this is where it's going to get interesting because it is the 2018 bottle, okay? If it was the 2016 bottle, I would probably put it very high up. It's not though. It's the 2018. If you've watched the channel, you know I don't like the 2018 as much as I did the 2016. Regardless, I'm going to put 2018 in B tier as well, okay? Part of the reason is because it's still that DNA, which I've made so many great memories with. It's still that DNA which was and is so popular and successful. I'm going to place it there. Let's go ahead and knock out another, popular one here. Paco Rabanne's 1 million. Even though I don't reach for it myself, rather I go for some of the other flankers like Privé and even 1 million Lucky. The OG is still, well, the OG. I'm going to put this one, I'm feeling nice, I'll put it in B tier as well. Again, given the impact that this one has had on the community, I feel like it deserves that spot. Let's move over to a different genre of scent here to change it up a little bit. Prada L'Homme. It is a fantastic work scent. Any scenario where you want to maintain a level of maturity, a level of class, Prada L'Homme is going to excel. If you're a kid in college, even in high school, if you're going to work, no matter what type of job you have, if you just want to have a well put together, classy smell about you, this is one of the main scents that you should look into if you don't have it already. There's a lot of other great fragrances out there that will give you a clean, soapy, classy smell, but this one does it so well, and it's also not absurdly expensive. When you hear Prada, you may think a whole crap ton of money, but it's really not. Prada L'Homme, for sure, is going to go into A tier. A lot of you would probably place this in S tier, and sure, I could see placing it there, but for me, it has to really, really blow me away, or I just have to have some great memories invested in it. And I don't really get either of those with Prada L'Homme. Smells fantastic. I love how it smells. I don't really wear it enough or wear it in situations where I make a lot of lifelong memories with. So A tier, I think, is where it's going to sit, and I think that's a really solid ranking for this one. Next up, we have CK1. Similar thing here, where I was not anywhere near being into the fragrance community when this came out and it had its whole wave of popularity and everyone wearing it and that sort of thing. I just wasn't around for it. A lot of you who were would probably rank this one pretty high, again, given the reasons I talked about, the nostalgia, the memories, and that sort of thing. I don't have any of that tied into this fragrance. It smells really pleasant, but that's really about all it does for me. The performance obviously is not going to be a beast mode scent. I wouldn't expect it to be. It's not necessarily a mind-blowing fragrance. You wouldn't expect it to be. If I had some serious memories and nostalgia invested into this one, it would rank high. I don't, so I'm going to put it in C tier. Let's go ahead and cover CH Men Privé. So this one, I believe, was getting hype right around the time I started dabbling with fragrances a little bit, because I remember just seeing it in a lot of videos. This came out after the original CH Men, I believe, and CH Men Privé is a whiskey leather scent. So it's, you've heard it described as a bad boy leather jacket fragrance, and that's a pretty good description. One of the main drawbacks with this one, and that's echoed across the community, is the performance. It doesn't perform that well. I've always said that I prefer it in wintertime. However, because it doesn't perform that good, I usually don't wear it in winter. I end up wearing it in like fall and spring when the temperatures are a bit more mild. As much as I would like to wear it when it's really cold, it just doesn't work for me. I'm going to put this one in A tier. So sitting there with Prada L'Homme, it's one that I really enjoy, not quite to the level where it blows me away and blows my mind, and also not quite to the level where I've had so much invested in it and I've had so many great times wearing it. Let's go ahead and do this one next. Tom Ford, fucking fabulous. So believe it or not, I don't own a bottle of this. I've been looking around here recently. I was going to pick one up over Labor Day from some of the sales. I ended up not doing that, but I really want a bottle. I sampled it first a long time ago. That's how I smelled it, and I actually really like it. It's a almond leather tonka bean style scent. It's very smooth, and I find it to be really unique. And it's funny, they actually have a censored version of the bottle where fucking is crossed out with the red line, and I don't really want one of those. I'm looking around to get a good deal on an uncensored bottle. It doesn't matter, but if I'm going to get it, I want to do it right and get the real thing. Not that the censored one is fake, but you get what I'm saying here. Anyway, where's this one going to place? Again, I really, really like it. Does it blow me away? Not quite. It really doesn't. It's very smooth. It has great quality like you would expect from Tom Ford, but doesn't quite get me to the level where it blows me away. I'm going to put it in A tier. I think that's a really solid spot for this one. That's where it's going to be sitting for now. If I were to get a bottle, start wearing it more, and decide that I really, really enjoy it a lot more than I did last time I sampled it, it could move up, but this is where it sits right now. And for me not having a bottle of it, I think that's pretty solid. What do you say we cover Light Blue O Intense next? Really, really solid stuff. I like it, okay? When it comes to wearable, fun, extremely versatile summer scent with decent performance, this is a nice option. For me, I'm going to put Light Blue O Intense in B tier. It's a really nice scent. I reach for it sometimes in the summertime, but oftentimes I find myself gravitating towards some other things. All right, we got to do this one next. Good old Sauvage Eau de Toilette. So believe it or not, I actually really like how Sauvage smells, okay? Some may think I'm a Sauvage hater because when new fragrances come out that are ambroxan-based scents, and I say, oh, it's another blue fragrance, maybe you get the impression that I don't like ambroxan scents or Sauvage, but quite the opposite. I actually find myself really enjoying Sauvage, and that's all of them as well. The EDT, the EDP, the Parfum. Sauvage was one of the first higher end, more expensive designer fragrances that I got when I first started collecting. This is one where I have made just a ton of great memories with. It has such great performance. I was always blown away by the performance ever since I first got it because it was one of my first super strong fragrances as well. I just have so many great memories of it in the summertime, doing fun stuff, and again, I really enjoy how it smells. And of course, it's hard to ignore the fact that it has also just come into the fragrance community and just ruffled everyone's feathers, and I love it. Sauvage going up there with Aventus in A tier. I know a lot of people probably put it in D tier because you hate it so much, but hey, I don't mind it. It's not to say that I'm not tired of hearing about it all the time, and kind of like Aventus, you'll notice the trend there. Neither of those are featured in my videos really anymore, but all things considered, I think it deserves it. Let's go ahead and do Hugo Boss Bottled Intense next. So, not sure if that's the Intense EDP or EDT. I believe there's two of them, but regardless, basically the same thing. Really pleasant scent. It's nice apple, fall smelling scent. It's a really nice entry level scent. If you're just getting into collecting, you could start there. If you're happening to start getting into it in the fall and winter time, that would be a nice place for you to start without spending a whole lot of money. Regardless of the version, EDT or EDP and Intense and all that stuff, performance is just kind of average. It's not the greatest. Not that it's a huge deal. For me, I'm going to put it in B tier. Hanging out with those other ones. Again, it works really well, but given the collection that I have, I just don't reach for it all that much. There's just other things I would rather wear and other things that I like better. Now we're kind of getting down to some interesting ones here, and I'll be honest, I've been kind of saving these for last. And as I look at it, not to burst your bubble, but I don't think anything's gonna be going in D tier. I'm sorry, maybe I was a little bit too nice in this video. Maybe I need to be harsher in the next one, but nothing's going in D tier. I can tell you that right now. All right, let's get this started. We have Oud Wood by Tom Ford. So, believe it or not, another one that I don't own a bottle of, but I have a lot of experience with samples, and I've even smelled some of the clones out there and stuff, but ultimately I have smelled the real thing multiple times via a sample, like a travel atomizer. It's also one that I want to pick up a bottle of at some point. I just haven't really felt the need. It's a great scent though. It's kind of one of the Tom Fords that pretty much everyone who has a Tom Ford collection owns, aside from me, I guess. But it's a nice woody masculine scent. You may hear the oud and be turned off by it, but it's not that strong of an oud in terms of being super animalic. It's very wearable, and it has an extreme amount of class from this scent. I mean, you wear this and you're going to be smelling expensive, and well, I would hope so because it is expensive. I'm going to put this one in A tier as well. A lot of you would probably put that in S tier, but again, for me, it just doesn't fulfill the requirements that I have, where I don't have a bottle of it, can't wear it all the time, and I just don't have a lot of memories tied into it. Okay, La Nuit de l'Homme. Alrighty, this one, it's got to go straight up top. S tier for me. When it comes to a date night fragrance, this to me is just one of the best out there. It really kind of opened me up to warm, spicy scents when I was first starting out. Versace Eros. So this looks to be the eau de toilette. Got the OG. This is one that I also got relatively early on in my collection back in high school. And I actually wore this to school a few times, and maybe actually it was once, and I never did it again because it was so strong. Yeah, regardless, Eros for me is going to go in B tier as well. Similar thing where it smells really nice, but at the same time, there are just other things that I would gravitate towards. That being said, it has made a huge impact on the community. Again, this is a situation where maybe I would rethink and move it up to A, but I'm not doing that. So B tier it is, and that's solid. Parfums de Marly Layton. So technically the only niche fragrance on this list, if you want to be technical, and maybe some would disagree, but while the Tom Ford private blends are very expensive, they're still Tom Ford. Tom Ford's a designer brand all the way. Argue with me if you want, and if you want to place those in a niche category, you can, but I'm not going to. Layton, I'm just going to put it right up to S tier. The reason why, oh, of course, Creed Aventus was on there as well. Obviously, that's a niche brand, but only two niche brands on here. Parfums de Marly has done so well, and it's also expensive. And that always impresses me. When you have a niche fragrance that's able to push out, even outside of the community, and do as well that it has, that's pretty cool. Obviously, Aventus is an exception. Of course, that one has done well. We all know that. But Parfums de Marly Layton, it's really kind of the next one that has just done amazingly well for itself, given the fact that it is a niche product. It smells great. Nice apple, fall, winter scent with good performance, all of that stuff. You've heard it a million times. All right, this is where it's going to start getting interesting. We're running down to the big boys. Spice Bomb Extreme, tobacco, vanilla, black pepper, sexiness. S tier. I'm dropping it in S tier. This is a gorgeous scent, okay? It's warm and spicy, and it is the true definition of a over-the-top flanker. It bases off that original Spice Bomb and just makes it 10 times better. Let's do this one, Yves Saint Laurent Y Eau de Parfum. Let's put that in D tier just because I haven't put anything down there yet. I'm just kidding. No, this one's gonna go up to A. So why is it above B? Because YSL Y Eau de Parfum simply has been worn by me a lot more. And I find that given everything, when you take everything into consideration, nowadays it just holds up a lot better than most of the other ones in the B tier. You know, it is kind of the trend right now. You have a lot of great flankers supporting that line. It's got fantastic performance. It hasn't been reformulated to death, at least yet. I just find that it works really well, and a lot of people really enjoy it, and myself included. Acqua di Gio Profumo. And should this even be a question? S tier, easily. And I feel stupid because this is really a solid lineup here, but I mean, look, it is what it is. It is a bestseller for a reason. This is one of the reasons why my channel exists, because this really piqued my interest hard into fragrances. When I was blown away by this one the first time I smelled it, that's when I went down the rabbit hole. It wasn't the first fragrance that I got, but it was one of the first ones that I got that really impressed me. It showed me just what's out there to really enjoy. This video is running really long, so I'm going to get into it here a little bit quicker. Bleu de Chanel, of course, it has to go hang with the top dogs in the S tier. That's the Eau de Toilette. These days, I actually prefer the Eau de Parfum and the Parfum. A lot of people don't care for the Parfum too much. I really like it, and the EDP I really like as well. It's hard to beat the Eau de Toilette. That ultra fresh vibrance and just that classic smell is great, but for me, the EDP, the Parfum, is just kind of what I lean towards. But the EDT, of course, is still a top dog. It's still a bestseller for fantastic reason. You can't smash this stuff and say that it's bad because it's really good. Dolce & Gabbana, the one Eau de Parfum. Yeah, S tier. That's how it is. One of the other best date night fragrances. Dolce & Gabbana, the one, and La Nuit de l'Homme are the two best designer date fragrances on the market, even still. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Performance is going to be an issue, but I already covered that with La Nuit de l'Homme. So if you're using it as a signature daytime scent, don't buy it, okay? Do not buy Dolce & Gabbana the One Eau de Parfum or Eau de Toilette if you want an everyday wear it to work or school signature scent. It's not going to perform for you. Don't even do it, because then you're going to go out and leave a bunch of comments on how the performance sucks and how the fragrance sucks and how people like me and other reviewers shouldn't talk about it anymore because the performance is so bad. Can you tell I've heard that a million times? Don't buy it for that. Buy it for a date fragrance, and I promise you, you won't be disappointed. And we're left with the iconic bottle, the figure of a man with a bulge, Ultra Male. Oh, so this one, I'm gonna get some hate. But for me, I love it, okay? I've said it before, but this is kind of one of those fragrances that I love so much, but I feel like I shouldn't, almost like a guilty pleasure type of thing, because it's very sweet, and it is synthetic, and it is very playful. I want to put it in the S tier, but I can't do it, so I'm gonna put it in the A tier. But keep in mind, it's really close. And you're probably like, why would you put something like that in the S tier? For me, it comes back to the memories. For me, it comes back to, it is kind of unique. That pear vanilla combination is so sexy. It is a beast mode compliment getter, a really good performer, and just super fun. It smells like fall to me. Fall playful activities, Halloween parties, haunted houses, that sort of thing. That's what it's all about for me. Well, guys, there you go. That's my top 21 most popular designer and, I guess, niche fragrances ranked. So I apologize, there wasn't a whole lot that I was busting on and putting down in D and E tier. I took the E tier off because I knew I wasn't going to put anything down there. We got one thing in C and then everything else up top. Could I have been more harsh on it? Maybe a little, but I don't think that was necessary. I'm not going to be harsh on it just to make a funnier video or make a video that pisses even more people off for putting their favorite fragrances down low. This is kind of how this one worked out. If you like this video, I am going to do more, and also I didn't make this template either. I did not choose these. This was already on the website tiermaker.com, and I will link it down below if you want to play along. But they do have more, so if you want to see this video again, I'll do another one, and maybe there will be a selection in which I can be a bit more harsh on, but this is kind of how it landed. Let me know, do you agree with my rankings or not? Do you think I'm an idiot for putting stuff like, Sauvage in S tier instead of D tier, or putting, Blue to Chanel in S tier instead of A tier, whatever. Just let me know what you think and how you would rank these. And I will link all of these down below if you want to pick them up for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.